we're going to have a little tales with tales, a little storytelling time. And yeah, let's start it off here. So what I want to do is spend some time talking about an idea, and I want to give credit where credit is due to Mondroid, who was in the audience today here on Splinterlands TV with us. He had discussed this with me separately, and I did ask him if I could make some content on this topic. So thank you, Mondroid, for that. And what we're going to be talking about, the topic is, are we repeating the sins of the past? And we're going to be discussing DEC inflation. And this is something I know, everyone's very, very positive right now with the potential of SPS increasing. We had DEC, at 0.00092, like maybe a week ago, close to peg. People are thinking that the flywheel may be soon among us, and we might be able to witness it in action. But what I want to do is talk about math and numbers and data that I think we should be aware of today to avoid the sins of the past. And what am I saying when I say the sins of the past? I'm saying the SPS airdrop, there was a problem with DEC valuation on the SPS airdrop. DEC is an infinite, basically circulation or mint coin. So it was just being printed a ton during the SPS airdrop, and that's why we have a ton of DEC now that we're trying to burn and get back to a manageable state so we can get the SPS flywheel into motion. And I want to talk about this because as we get close to that maybe happening soon in the Splinterverse here, I want to call your attention to mathematical data that provides a cautionary tale for us to discuss as a community and as Splinterlands, the development team, to make sure we don't have issues in the future. So I think it behooves us to talk a little bit about the history of Terra Luna. I'm not an expert on Terra Luna. I never actually bought or held UST or Luna tokens. So I'm not going to really give you my take or my experience with Terra Luna. What I'm going to share with you, however, is I'm going to share with you basically a layman's details of Terra Luna. And basically, I'm just going to read through some of this to give you the details in case you're not aware of it. And the reason why it's relevant is because Matt's vision of the SPS flywheel comes a little bit from the Terra Luna system, except it's a one-way peg instead of a two-way peg, and it's backed up by product within the Splinterlands ecosystem. But let's just take a segue here and talk about what is Terra Luna. And basically what this source says here, this is, I think, what is this? moneytalks.io. Basically, Terra Network possesses two native tokens, UST and Luna, and both have different functions. UST is a stablecoin, implying its value is pegged to $1 and is utilized to risk or shift tokens when markets become jerky. In contrast, Luna is a more tradable investment whose prices fluctuate depending on market circumstances. Both coins are intrinsically linked, with UST pegged to Luna using something named algorithmic pegging. Typically, a stablecoin is funded one-to-one with a tangible asset like gold or dollars, ensuring investors that the value will stay at $1 or reasonably close. Algorithmic pegging operates a smart contract to alter the value of the linked assets automatically. In this case, the smart contract automatically uses Luna tokens to mint new UST tokens, maintaining the UST price stable and Luna deflationary theoretically. So no matter the market conditions, one UST can consistently be redeemed for a coined or coined for exactly 1 Luna. Now, the reason why this is important to understand is because this is kind of the background of the SPS flywheel to some degree, in the fact that UST is representing DEC, or our stablecoin, and Luna is representing SPS, or our variable token here. Now, I want to talk about the history that happened in May of 2022, just briefly for those who are unaware of it, because I don't want to assume anything necessarily. The sudden Terra Luna collapse took place in early May of 2022, when the value of UST unexpectedly began falling from its $1 peg. The unexpected price fall caused a massive number of Luna to be minted to stabilize the UST value, saturating the market with Luna tokens. This pushed the price down and smashed Luna's price overnight. Luna moved from a top 10 crypto to outside the top 150 overnight, and its circulating market supply tripled from 350 million to more than 1.4 billion in just 2 days. Now, the reason why I read from that instead of recounting the whole Terra Luna thing is I didn't want to misspeak. I'm not an expert on Terra Luna, so I just took it from a source there to give you the data points on what Terra Luna, how that fell from grace, and how the algorithmic pegging, or the algorithmic stablecoin, basically caused the collapse of that token in that ecosystem. Now, how does that relate to DEC inflation and the sins of the past here in Splinterlands? Well, right now, things are looking positive. Things are looking very good in the fact that we can maybe have the flywheel kick into effect. Now, I'm going to put on my bullish hat here, and we're going to give you a dose of hopium here, and just walk with me through this example. We know that LAN 1.5 is on the near-term horizon, maybe August, September timeframe. So like maybe 2 to 3 months max, let's just say, as a general estimate. Now, with LAN 1.5, we know that there's going to be DEC staking requirements to put max level cards on land, and there's 150,000 total land plots that can stake on it 50,000 DEC per land plot maximum to maximize the resources. Now, initially, we're not going to have all 150,000 plots with 50,000 staked DEC on it necessarily, and I would say that's not even really realistically possible. But what is potentially possible is that the demand for DEC is such that a lot of DEC is staked or taken out of circulation and put on land here in LAN 1.5, making the flywheel effect happen. And with the flywheel effect, if you're familiar with Luna's meteoric rise, once the flywheel kicks in, crazy things can happen and prices can go very high very rapidly. So it's not necessarily out of the realm of possibility that 150,000 plots, let's say in the next 6 months, could get fully consumed with DEC, meaning 7.5 billion DEC would be staked on land. And that is more DEC than is minted today. Right now, I think if we go into Peak Monsters, we can actually take a look at that and see, actually as Splinter cards might have it. Let's see. Let's take a look-see here. If Splinter cards will tell me this data quickly. DEC supply is at 4.7 billion right now, and it's gone down by 2.49 million in the last 24 hours. So we're slowly, burning away DEC, getting that down. But in reality, what could happen is, let's say 4.7 billion are staked on land. We're still short roughly 2.8 billion DEC. So what happens? The flywheel kicks in, and all of a sudden now we're burning SPS to mint DEC to stake on land, and SPS prices obviously increase because of that. That's the beauty of the flywheel's effect. So let's just say in 6 months, all this DEC, 7.5 billion, or let's say more than currently exists on the market today available for sale, is staked on land, and the SPS flywheel kicks in. Prices go up of SPS, DEC stabilizes at peg, asset values go up, everyone is super happy. Now, what this means is that to create more DEC, because there's not enough DEC in circulation because it's staked on land, as an example, we still need DEC for the liquidity pools, for funding that, as far as supply for trading, means DEC in the liquidity pools. We need DEC for leaderboard payouts. We need DEC for the card rental markets. We need DEC to buy, for example, Rift Watchers. We need DEC to buy the supplementary set that might be coming later this year. And we'll need DEC to buy Rebellion when it finally comes out. What does this mean? Well, it means we need to burn SPS to mint DEC. And let's just say we have 7.5 billion DEC staked on land. Everyone's making money hand over fist. We're burning SPS. SPS is going to the moon. Well, we're going to need a lot of DEC to buy packs, to do all those other things like rent cards, pay leaderboard prizes, fund liquidity pools, pay out, all that stuff, right? So what's going to happen is we, in theory, could have 7.5 billion DEC staked on land, and we could maybe mint another couple million DEC. Let's just say we mint, I don't know, let's just be conservative and say we mint another 5 billion DEC through Rebellion and the supplementary set and all these other DEC needs, right? So now we have 12.5 billion DEC minted. A lot of it's staked on land, some of it's freshly minted, and SPS is burned, SPS supply is down. That is fantastic from an SPS flywheel perspective. But remember, just like there is a life spiral for Luna, there was also a death spiral, right? Which was discussed in this article right here, right? Where UST lost peg and it just went bad. Well, what could happen, right? Let's say we go through a bull market in 2024, in 2025, everything's great, the flywheel's kicking in, we're buying islands and all this good stuff. We've got, let's say, 12.5 billion DEC minted, and then we hit another bear market. Has anyone thought of that? Because markets are cyclical, and what goes up must come down. So if a bear market hits, and now SPS prices start to decline, people start selling off assets, well, we've got a much bigger hole to dig out of in DEC than ever before, because remember, we started this time around with about 7 billion DEC to get through the SPS airdrop sins of the past, which was a big problem. The example I just mentioned, as conservative level with Rebellion sales and supplementary pack sales and all that, we said 12.5 billion, right, DEC, which is a very conservative considering how much money or revenue the team made from Chaos Legion pack sales and what the minting of DEC at PEG would require to sell those pack skills again. 12.5 billion DEC is a very conservative number, but let's just say that's the number. Well, if a bear market hits in the future, the game could be in a real tough spot. We see how hard it is to get out of the current $7 billion hole. To get out of a $12.5 billion hole could see a total collapse of the game because you've minted all this DEC by burning SPS. People start selling SPS. SPS starts going down. People don't have a need to say mint DEC. The DEC value goes down, and now we have basically a death spiral in Splinterlands because you have way too much DEC and not enough demand in product or the burning of SPS to increase its price or increase its value. So you have a death spiral in Splinterlands, even though it's something that should not happen because it's based on supply and demand and token prices. If that happens and you've got $12.5 billion in DEC now under peg, at let's say 0.8, 0.7, 0.6 of its value, how do you dig yourself out of that hole in the future? That is the question that I pose to you today. And it is a unfortunate side effect of the flywheel, in such that the whole point of the flywheel is to inflate DEC. When times are good, it's going to inflate a lot of DEC, just like with the SPS airdrop. When times are bad, that's when the community pays for it. And that's why I wanted to bring this to your attention. I don't have a silver bullet or a solution necessarily to this, other than to say, where possible, we should be burning DEC rather than staking it where technically possible, because staking it does not do anything to the circulation. It just adds to the inflation that ultimately will have to be addressed, for example, in the future, when land becomes less profitable and people start selling land or not using land for staking and for rewards, and they pull their DEC out of land, unstake it, and then try and sell it. That's the dilemma. It's not impossible to think that that could happen. It's something that we should be aware of, and it's something where possible, we should be encouraging the team to be burning DEC rather than staking it, because of the ultimate inflation that happens by basically pushing the can down the road with staking. All right, so there you have it. Let me check the chat. Let's see what you have to say about this. And maybe I need to put my tinfoil hat on before we start talking here. Once upon a time, DEC price went too high, so they had to produce more DEC to bring it to peg. Yeah, well, that was the SPS airdrop. And that's why we have a ton of DEC today. So yeah, so I thought it was interesting. Shout out to Mondroid for really kind of elaborating and detailing the topic. I think it's an interesting conversation for sure. Something to be aware of. Again, you know, it's not anything that we need to be concerned about today or tomorrow. Especially, it's one of those things that once the flywheel kicks in and the prices of assets start going up and everyone's making money, no one's gonna care or talk about the topic. The thing is it's kind of that nasty thing that lurks in the background, that once it becomes a problem, that really could be a problem that is too much to get past next time around. So we just need to be aware of it. We need to have game design concepts in place to mitigate the impacts of that. And one of those mitigation factors will definitely be adding more DEC sinks to hopefully, you know, keep the DEC inflation or mint numbers in check, and not just have this albatross of staked DEC in the future, you know, hanging across our necks. Yeah. Techie is saying that we need something that is not direct burn, instead some utility to help gameplay. Yeah, I mean, that utility is, you know, buying products in Splinterlands for DEC. That's a product-backed stablecoin, right? The utility is they use DEC to buy company assets and revenue. The problem is the company doesn't burn that DEC. The utility of DEC is basically allowing the company to transition the DEC into dollars to be able to pay their employees. So it doesn't get burned, it just, you know, stays in the ecosystem, unfortunately.